Thank you. Yeah, good
What'd you do
family
yesterday?
Christmas. Huh?
Stay home yesterday? Or?
Oh yeah. Well, we went to Megan's parents. They live in Star. They just retired down to Starkville, so we went to had dinner at their house.
Okay. All right.
They have leftovers now since we were leaving.
And you're packing on a couple more pounds?
Yeah, I got to get more. I got to try to get a workout. I worked out pretty good over the last couple of days.
You know, sports writing fraternity, it's not football season, it's fat ball season.
Oh, you can eat and eat and eat like Christmas because you get used to being on the schedule at work.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm home and playing with the kids, and there's food around, and there's snacks, and there's treats, and just eat nonstop.
That's the fun part. Hey, how'd they look back home during those practices? What
Good.
did you see that encouraged you?
Hey, I just saw, our team, I thought they were pretty focused. One of the keys is with the time off at a bowl game. As you have a couple weeks off, then you go and we kind of do a bonus practice section with a session with a lot of the young guys getting reps. Then we do a game week right before we go home. And, it was good to see the older guys, the leadership, because those guys have to step up and really transition everybody back into game week mentality. And I thought they did that in our final week of practice, or final 4 days of practice before we went home for Christmas break.
You've been there long enough, and the kids are like juniors and seniors, and this is something they're going to keep passing on. But there's a routine, there's ways you like to approach a bowl week and stuff like that, and a regular season. Is it kind of on autopilot in that regard? Everybody knows what to expect. Everybody knows what you expect of them.
Well, the older guys do. We only have 29 juniors and seniors on the roster. So when you look at it, 2/3 of the guys, it's all new for them. You know what I mean? And even you look at this trip, 2/3 of the team either wasn't on the roster or was redshirting the last time we came here.
Yeah.
And so, a lot of those guys that are out there, this is all kind of new for them. So, but I do think for us, I think the older guys really understand what we want. The coaches understand what we want. So it is that way, and it's our responsibility and the veteran players' responsibility to make sure the young guys understand how to mix fun with business here at the bowl trip.
Okay. Yeah, that was going to be my next question. How do you strike the balance? Do you have kind of like a set script for striking that balance during a bowl week? Would it ever change when you get to a BCS bowl?
No, I think your schedule is your schedule. Every bowl is going to have a little different schedule because you have a lot of different events that go on. And, so for our guys, what we do is kind of take the schedule, all the different events we have, try to plug in our practice times, around the events, where it's, the bowl is also a celebration for our guys. Where do we, we practice mid-afternoon, which works great for this bowl because it's, we practice right around game time, kickoff time every day. So our guys are getting adjusted to their bodies, getting adjusted to performing at that time of day. Also though, they don't have to get up too early and, and give them some free time at night. And, but you do count on that leadership of, you have about 4 hours of football a day, so 20 hours of fun or sleep, and 4 hours of football. But those 4 hours of football, we got to be completely locked in.
Okay. I want to ask you a couple specific players. First of all, I know cornerbacks are hard to come by. You ever sit back and, boy, how did I get these two good ones at the same time?
Well, I know one thing, being in the Southeastern Conference is all about defense. So you sit back in every position, and you always start on defense, of building up, that depth, those talented players on defense. And, it's going to be huge. For us to not just have those two guys now, but continue to have great corners in the future. Because if you have guys that can go cover somebody, you have the opportunity to play great defense with everybody else.
Yep. I was looking at their backgrounds. It seems like Jonathan seems like he's been an early bloomer at every step. I looked at his record. He was on state championship baseball teams freshman and sophomore. He played high school football for 5 years. Started in the 8th grade.
Well, if you ever went to his high school.
Yeah. Is it a small one?
Yeah, 1A school. I think he said there were 30 kids in his graduating class. Boys and girls. It is small town. 1A high school.
And he even made significant contributions in the Gator Bowl 2 years ago.
Oh yeah.
With a pick and
big
everything.
interception. He started for us since he was a freshman.
Has he always been quick on the uptake as far as?
I think growing up where he grew up in a small playing every sport. I think he just had a lot of natural ball skills to him. Like, you see kids, I think you can tell kids that grew up playing video games and tell kids that grew up playing outside, and he obviously played outside. And I think that adjustment made it easy for him coming in there. And I think, playing all the different sports, playing every position in high school, and the fact that he's extremely intelligent made it an easy transition for him into the college game. He's continued to grow since then.
Does that make a kid coachable? He's had that much experience?
Yeah, he's, the great thing is not only is he coachable, but now he's a coach. If you ever watch him at practice and on the field, he's a coach to all the other guys out there on the field.
Darius, on the other hand, a little bit of a late bloomer.
Took a whole different route. Darius, out of high school didn't have the grades, so he went up to Itawamba Community College and was there for 2 full years. And he got out right before training camp. So the hardest part for him is, basically, not this past season, the season before was really his rookie season with us, and he didn't have any off-season training, nothing. Even behind the freshmen coming in, because they had a summer. He was still in junior college in the summer, and so I think he had to learn on the fly during the season last season, and could only imagine if we were able to redshirt him, what he'd be like if he had another year coming back for us. So, but I think he's done a good job of realizing that he was a little behind and getting himself caught up. And the amazing one, I think he's going to have a great future ahead of him because he still has an awful lot more of growing to do, both physically and as mentally as a football player.
Did you have any concerns when you first started playing him last year, as far as with Jonathan on the other side, he was going to get picked on? I mean, they were. No,
because we had Corey Broomfield also play for us last year, and he had been a freshman All-American, so back his freshman year. So I think the depth in the secondary and with moving guys around, kind of, it kept people on their toes. That was for sure. And I think even last season, I don't know that it was This is the first year I think people really have stayed away from Jonathan. He doesn't get a lot of balls thrown his way.
Well, what jumped out at you in high school? I mean, it's tough to evaluate these kids at these really small schools, because then you start, is he a world beater because of the competition or whatever? But what did you see in Jonathan during the recruiting process?
That he did everything, and you have to trust your vision of what you see this young guy can do, because obviously he was the most dominating player on the field. Mm-hmm. And if at a small school, that's one thing you're going to look for. So hopefully they're head and shoulders above everybody else. But Mississippi we're one of those places where a lot of kids play. I think 30% of our team is at 1A, 2A, and 3A schools from that in high school. There are a lot of our players from small schools. So I think you just have to trust all of your evaluations.
Okay. And then, this is my last question. Tyler, evaluate the season he's had, and